Okay, let's get this show on the road. We've got 3 games tonight as opposed to the 2 we had last night. So, hey, if you like to have all your games on at once and finished early, this has been a good week so far. It happened last night. It's going to happen again tonight, too. And, generally speaking, good matchup, interesting matchup. Interesting in that you've got 2 teams that are trying to get back into the race with that third one. So let's start things off with the Winnipeg Jets, who are 31-16-2. They're in against the 27-17-5 Boston Bruins. Now, the Bruins, of course, sitting a wild card spot. They want to get back into that third spot in the Atlantic with their eye, of course, on the second spot, but trying not to fall out at the same time because the East is pretty darn competitive. Whereas the Jets in the West, they're trying to stop what looks like it could be the start of a skid after a loss last night in Philly. The Jets are 6-4-2 over their last 10. They've lost 2 in a row. They're now 13-10 on the road. They're 11-6-1 versus the East, whereas Boston, they're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They lost their last game. At home, they're 17-7-1 versus the West. They're 11-4-3. So the numbers seem to favor Boston, but Winnipeg lost last night, and the idea of them losing 2 nights in a row, I don't know about that one. The leading scorers for Winnipeg: Wheeler, 9 goals, 52 assists. Scheifele, 25 goals, 34 assists. Connor, 19 goals, 19 assists. Laine, 25 goals, 9 assists. Little, 11 goals, 19 assists. Byfuglien, 4 goals, 25 assists. Ehlers, 15 goals, 12 assists. Morrissey, 5 goals, 21 assists. Trouba, 4 goals, 20 assists. And Brandon Tanev with 11 goals, 9 assists rounds out your top 10 for the Jets. On the Boston side of things, Pastrnak, 27 goals, 29 assists, is their leading scorer. Marchand, 19 goals, 34 assists. Bergeron, 14 goals, 27 assists. Krejci, 10 goals, 30 assists. Krug, 5 goals, 27 assists. Jake DeBrusk, 14 goals and 4 assists. Corrali, 6 goals, 8 assists. Heinen, 6 goals, 7 assists. Backus, 5 goals, 8 assists. And Grzelcyk, 1 goal and 12 assists to round out their top 10. Goaltenders, I don't think we've got a confirmation, but let me double check. No, when I do these in the morning, and they're all East Coast games, they're all confirmed. There you go. Starting goalies tonight, it will be Connor Hellebuyck for the Winnipeg Jets. He's 21-14-1, 2.85 goals against, 910 save percentage, backed up by Laurent Brossoit, who lost last night. 10-2-1, 2.09 goals against, 940 save percentage, and a shutout. It will be Jaro Halak tonight because Tuukka Rask is out with a concussion, and I'm greatly concerned as a Bruins fan about that. They're coming out of the break, and he's now been put on injured reserve. It makes me nervous. Zane McIntyre will be the backup. Rask is 14-8-3, 2.43 goals against, 919 save percentage with a shutout. Really hope he comes back quickly because he was starting to run into form. And Halak's numbers have been coming down. He's 13-9-2. 2.47 goals against, also with a 919 save percentage and 3 shutouts. So for Boston, it's a big game, and they're missing their big game goaltender for it. And for Winnipeg, yeah, these games in hand against Nashville, if they lose tonight, that's another one of those wonderful games in hand they've had. And for Nashville fans, they're going to be cheering for Boston tonight. So, going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Moving on, Buffalo. The Buffalo Sabres, 24-18-6, are in against these guys, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Should be an interesting game as these 2 teams both come out of the break. Whereas over their last 10, Buffalo's been poor. Columbus lost their last 2 going into the break, so we'll see which one comes out of it. Buffalo is 3-6-1 over their last 10. On the road, they're 10-12-3, so they've got to get that together. Versus the East, they're 12-11-5, so that's not a record against your own conference you want to be sporting at this time of year if you want to make the playoffs. Whereas Columbus, 6-4-0, they lost their last 2 at home. They're 14-9-2. Versus the East, they're 19-11-1. Had to feel pretty good about seeing Pittsburgh lose last night. They stay 1 point ahead of Pittsburgh, and we'll see how far they go with that. And of course, all the talk now is about Panarin, and what's Panarin going to do? They're not going to trade Panarin for nothing, and they're not going to trade Panarin just because they're not sure about what he's going to do at the end of the year. Because honestly, he's their best player. He's been their best player this year. I know Atkinson's scoring the goals, but Panarin overall, He's the straw that stirs the drink. Leading scorers for Buffalo, Eichel, 16 goals, 36 assists. Skinner, 30 goals, 14 assists. Sam Reinhart, 11 goals, 33 assists. Ristolainen, 5 goals, 25 assists. Dahlin, 5 goals, 21 assists. Pominville, 10 goals, 10 assists for him. Okposo, 8 goals, 11 assists. Sherry, 7 goals, 12 assists. Rodriguez, 5 goals, 16 assists. And I'm still waiting on Middlestad to move up the charts. He's at 7 goals, 7 assists. For Columbus, Panarin is the leading scorer, 19 goals, 34 assists. Atkinson, 27 goals, 21 assists. Dubois, 17 goals, 26 assists. Jones, 7 goals, 22 assists. Werenski, 9 goals, 18 assists. Foligno, 12 goals, 11 assists. Anderson, 15 goals, 7 assists. Murray, 1 goal, 21 assists. Jenner, 9 goals, 12 assists. And Wenberg has got to start getting goals somewhere. I know he's not a big goal scorer, but he's only got 1 this year, and it feels like he should have more than 1. And he's got 18 assists to go with that 1 goal. Goaltenders. It's going to be Carter Hutton tonight for Buffalo, meaning Ullmark's the backup. Ullmark's got a 10-4-3 record, 2.93 goals against, 9.14 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. Hutton, 14-3, 2.75 goals against, 9.12 save percentage, and flirting with ending up with more losses than wins at this point in the season, which isn't great. Now, for Buffalo fans, the good news is that Bobrovsky's had such a turbulent year, and they're coming out of the break that we don't know what to expect there. He is starting, though. Bobrovsky's 19-14-1, 2.91 goals against, 9.04 save percentage, 2 shutouts. He'll be backed up by Korpisalo, who's 9-3-2, 2.95 goals against, 9.01 save percentage. And again, I don't know what to expect with Columbus tonight. And if Buffalo is going to make that surge happen, if they're going to put themselves right back into the picture of being one of the top 8, and you know they're close to falling out altogether. Like if Pittsburgh had won last night and Buffalo loses today, that puts them 6 points back, and you go, I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see what Buffalo does going into the break, because it does feel like with the right pieces and the right additions, they could be on their way to a playoff spot. But you don't want to mortgage any of your future to get there, as tempting as it is with how long it's been since Buffalo made the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do there. All right, and last but not least, the final game of the night that I'm reporting on is the Philadelphia Flyers, who won last night, in against New York Rangers, who are coming out of the break. The Flyers are 20 now, 20 wins, 23-6. And they're in against the 21-20-7 New York Rangers. Both teams are on winning streaks. That's right, this is not a drill. It's January. And these are the kinds of things that can tend to happen in January. Now, I don't know if both teams are necessarily toying with their fans' affections and just going to dump them in and around the break, but it's a good story going on with Philly. It's an interesting story going on with the Rangers as well, because it does feel like the Rangers are in a selling mode. The Flyers, they just want the goaltending to hold up. And tonight it will not be Carter Hart, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with Carter Hart not being the goaltender. Over their last 10 now, Philadelphia's 5-4-1. That's what 4 wins in a row will do for you. On the road, they're 9-13-3. Got to get that together. And against the East, they're 10-14-3. Got to get that together. The Rangers are 4-6-0 in their last 10. They've won 3 in a row. At home, they're 13-6-5 versus the East, 11-12-4. So both of them lose games against their own conference more than they win them. Tonight's kind of a pick 'em. I kind of like Philly in this, but I'm not going to tip my hand at all tonight. I try not to tip my hand because yesterday I was wrong on both. The Philadelphia Flyers are led by Giroux, 14 goals, 38 assists for him. Voracek, 11 goals, 28 assists. Couturier, 19 goals and 20 assists. Konechny, 13 goals, 15 assists. Simmons, 15 goals and 8 assists for him. Van Riemsdyk now has 13 goals and 10 assists. So he's putting together some solid numbers. Gostisbehere, 5 goals, 15 assists. Lawton, 7 goals, 12 assists. Patrick's 9 goals and 8 assists. Watch him go ice cold now that I talked about how he's playing well going to the break. Provorov, 4 goals, 13 assists, rounds out your top 10 for the Flyers. The New York Rangers, Zibanejad's the leading scorer, 17 goals, 27 assists. Kreider, 22 goals, 15 assists. Hayes, 10 goals, 23 assists. And There are a lot of rumors about where he's going to go and what he's going to get traded for. I will say this. I really think Hayes is going to get overpaid this summer. It just feels that way. And a team may end up regretting picking him up, sort of like Boston ultimately felt with Rick Nash last year, where as much as I appreciated Nash's physicality and what he did for the Bruins, yeah, the goals were not there in the playoffs, and it definitely cost the Bruins a lot when you look at what they gave up. Not Spooner as much, though. Not as much for Spooner. VC, 11 goals, 13 assists. Zuccarello, who was hot going to the break, 8 goals, 16 assists. Pionk, 5 goals, 15 assists. Hedel, 9 goals, 9 assists for him. Fast, 7 goals, 10 assists. Nemesnikov, 4 goals, 12 assists. And there's Buchnevich at 9 goals, 6 assists, rounding out your top 10 for the New York Rangers. Goaltenders, it will be Anthony Stolarz tonight for Philly. I have not seen that McKenna's on waivers. I don't know what they're doing with their goaltenders. I would assume Mike McKenna goes back on waivers, with Hart and Stolarz being the goalies. Hart will be the backup. He's 7-5-1, 2.53 goals against, 922 save percentage. Stolarz, 2-3-2, 3.9 goals against, 880 save percentage. On the Rangers side, they're going with Georgiev, so they're giving Lundqvist an extended rest coming out of the All-Star break. Georgiev's 6-8 with a 3.43 goals against, 894 save percentage, and a single shutout. Lundqvist is 15-12-7 with a 3.01 goals against and a 908 save percentage. So, if you're following along at home, the overall record's not great in favor of the Rangers, but they're not great in favor of the Flyers either. So this should be a good competitive game between two teams trying to prove, hey, we're still relevant in the East. And it's an especially strong pressure on Stolarz, because if he goes out there tonight and plays really, really poorly, it may make the decision of what to do with your goaltenders just even that much more difficult. And somewhere in the back of all this, Brian Elliott is trying to rehab and get back into action. And who knows how many goaltenders Philadelphia is going to end up shedding by the end of the year. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.